Now then, our next speaker, Afrida, could be very well the brand ambassador for Energizer and Duracell batteries. His energy levels are bound to rub off on you even while watching him across the screen, across the stage, right here. This high-octane performer has been Ram, Bajirao, Alauddin Khilji, Bittu Sharma, and now Simba with equal panache. This uber-cool actor, ladies and gentlemen, is often spotted wearing the most quirky attires. Not today, though. He's got a sparkle in his eyes and a hop in his step, but nothing can match the shine of his newly acquired wedding ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the showstopper moment is here. The moment we've all been eagerly waiting for, haven't we? We've been eagerly waiting to hear from Ranveer Singh, the man who has the reputation of being someone who speaks straight from the heart. He's been candid with his views on topics like equal remuneration or the Me Too movement as well, by the way. And therefore, we need to hear him out today, don't we? Please put your hands together for the very dynamic Ranveer Singh for a chat with ET Now's anchor and senior editor, Sonali Krishna.
Woo! You know what? I'm going to barge in, and since I will not get this opportunity later, yes.
Ranveer,
My lady.
thank you for making it, and thank you. This is your first public appearance after you've gotten hitched, while you've broken 1 million hearts or billion hearts. Let's just say, let's start by wishing you a, happily ever after and marital bliss forever.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi, guys. Good evening. Good evening. I made it. I made it. Yo, this metro in Bombay is really creating chaos, huh? It took me like 2 hours to get here. I'm coming from Andheri. Yes, thank you very, very much. Let me tell you, I feel like I'm flying. Marriage is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. Wow, I feel some kind of magic, some kind of power. It's like, I feel like invincible. You know, in superhero movies, you know that moment when like the suit comes on, like, I feel like marriage has done that to me. I feel like I've grown up now. Finally, I'm a man. I feel grounded. I feel secure. No, for real. Why are you laughing? Are you crazy? Why are you laughing? What? I can't feel grounded and secure? I'm really loving it. It's only been about 10 or 15 days, but it's so nice. It's so lovely. I would highly recommend it to all, to the entire young population of the country. If you're thinking about it, take it from me. It's great.
You're so excited 15 days into your marriage. I wonder, when the next set of pressure starts following up, which will be children, what you'll say.
It's not my call, really, honestly.
It is your call.
I mean, partly, but mostly it's just her. And I allow her that, you know. I'm very, first of all, happy that I've got this top woman here. She's a top chick. I love how my voice is echoing.
Mike. We have lost audio.
She's an amazing chick. Hello. Yes. So.
Hello.
So I allow her to make most of the decisions because she's just better at everything, you know.
I think then you have a very big responsibility that you need to teach the men of India how to take the back seat, you know.
It's
and
a
how
no-brainer. I mean, come on.
Drive all seats.
I have
not
no
just the
qualms in
married
admitting
seat.
that she's a much more evolved, much more mature person than me. Of course, I love her. But I respect and admire her so much for everything that she's achieved. She's much, you could say, much greater person than me. She's achieved a lot more than me. You know, it's like, I'm basically like a bigda hua bacha. You know, I've been treated like a nawab in my home. My mother, my sister, my dad, they all spoil me. You know, so many things are done for me. Deepika, on the other hand, is truly an independent woman. You know, she runs her show. She's the CEO of her world from start to finish. You know, I have a lot of support, the kind of support she never had, and she still achieved the pinnacle of success. So I have no qualms in admitting this, and she is so much better at everything. Like this whole wedding, which was like a dream wedding, which she completely orchestrated. You know, I don't even have the vision for it or the capacity to execute something like that. So I've learned very early on that the key to success is just to say yes to everything. Allow her to decide, and she will be happy. And your happiness should come from her happiness. So yeah, just say yes to everything, and you'll just sail through.
Don't make us
Well,
cry.
see how,
Don't make us cry
See how
just yet.
vigorously that gentleman is clapping. You and me, bro, we know the key to success in life. I'm telling you.
But allow me to make an observation as a newlywed. You know, before you went into the marriage zone, you were all about your bold fashion statement. But we've been following your wedding closely, as you know, the entire nation is. And we found that you're toned down. Your shadi ka kapda was very toned down, and you're toned down today as well.
Don't let this corporate-looking suit fool you. It's a ploy. I'm going to try and sound intelligent. I'm trying to look the part today. So it's not that. I wanted to twin with her. You know, I wanted us to look good together. So I was like, you decide what to wear, and I'll wear something that looks good on you.
Wow.
You know?
Pretty deep.
Yeah. I mean, see, you've got to give her priority on everything. Yeah. The key to success in life. That guy knows it.
So let's talk about you, Ranveer. Yeah? So this is the Ranveer, or the man we knew, the authentic dresser that we know, you know, who's out there, who's wild, who's crazy, whose energy levels never dies. Which part is strategic? Because, you know, we live in an always-on world, and I don't know how you guys do it, because it's you know, you're traced everywhere, and even on social media, you need to be on high energy levels all the time. And I don't think many people in the audience know that you're actually an advertising guy.
Yeah.
And you did fantastically well in Ogilvy before you got your big break in Bollywood. So how was the guy at Ogilvy? How was the Ranveer Singh then?
I'm going to answer in parts. First of all, I'm not toned down. Did you see what I was wearing for my wedding? I was wearing a leopard on my shoulder for one of the events. A leopard who had green lasers coming out of his eyes. Is that by what barometer or yardstick? Or how is that toned down? It was hot pink and gold. And Manish Arora made it specially for me. I love you, Manish. He's my spirit designer, and he's really out there. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to tone down or change who I am just because now I'm married. Which leads me into my next part of the response, which is, if it happens, I'm not going to filter it. I'll just allow it to happen. You know, if it happens naturally, then so be it. You know, if I'm wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans and she thinks I'm looking hot, I'm going to wear more white t-shirt and blue jeans more often. You know what I mean? If it happens, it happens. Which leads me into that response. In my case, I don't know how it is for my peers. I'd be interested to know for sure. For me, there was a big change that came about after my first 2 years. You know, my first 2 years, I was seeking everyone's validation.
Sure.
You know, and I was trying to fit into what I thought is the expected mold of an up-and-coming, you know, leading man in mainstream cinema. So all my decisions, even to do with clothing, you know, would be okay. This is what I think people will like. you know. And then I had a life-changing experience. It was a very serious back injury, you know, which I was bedridden for many months, and I introspected, and I realized that it was too taxing to strategize. It's too taxing because of the kind of scrutiny that you're under on a daily basis with paparazzi culture, social media, and everybody has a microphone in their hand in the age of social media. They can give their opinion and they will be heard. You know, there's a ready platform for that. It just gets too exhausting. It gets too taxing to design and to strategize. The easiest part, and the one that now I've come to now believe is most resonant, is authenticity. You know, if you can just be you, that's what will resonate the most. Around that time when I started dressing the way I felt like, you know, I started making decisions, started doing what I feel like, saying what I feel like, being the way I wanted to be, and not saying what I thought people wanted to hear, or dressing the way you know, I thought that they wanted to see me dressed as. It all changed for me. It started. I could feel it, you know, and I felt so much easier because I was just being myself, you know. I think, and that's key in this new age, you know, that we're in, this young country that we're in, these young people, millennials, people who are 90, 18, 19, 20 now, they want authenticity, you know. If there's no space left for pretense, for artifice. You have to be authentic. You know, like there's that Kendrick Lamar song. Of course, it's got an expletive, but this is a mature audience. Are we live?
We don't know.
Okay,
We don't know.
okay. What is that line? I am so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Give me something real, like an ass with some stretch marks. You know? So, you know, so that it's a very significant line. If you go to, like, people just don't want to be fooled. They want to see something real. They want to feel something real, you know. So I think people who are very authentic in their way of being, you know, who don't put up pretenses, and who are not forcing a certain kind of projection, they just are, you know. I think that's what will connect, what connects, and what is resonant.
You know, whenever we've seen your interviews or you've spoken, you're clearly a person who's been a very, very passionate follower of Bollywood.
Yeah.
Even before, I think, you came to enlightenment where you decided you want to be a star. If I had to ask you, what's the key difference of being a leading star in Bollywood then and now? What would it be?
Then is when. Oh, at that time,
Yesteryears,
when I
yes.
used to be just the fanboy,
Yes,
which I still am, but I think there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in the way things are. Stars, you know, earlier had this certain mystery to them. They were inaccessible. You could see them only at a distance and admire them, and that whole definition has changed. That's not what stars are anymore. Now you have, you know, a paparazzi culture. You have, most significantly, social media. The definition of stardom has changed completely. You know, it's almost as if young people don't want to look up to you anymore. They want to put their arm around you. You know, now they know where you stay, what you eat for breakfast, what you're doing every 2 hours. There is complete access, one-to-one access, and I think yeah, that mystery that there used to be, which has got its own charm.
Sure.
But in today's day and age, in this information age, there's just no place for it. You know, the mystery is very, very little, because you can actually literally be captured. You know, everybody has a phone now. Every phone has a camera now. So your stars, the minute they leave the confines of their private homes, can be captured by one and all. You know, there's just so much visibility and accessibility that mystery that used to be attached to a star is completely gone.
You know, I also want to talk to you about how you manage the whole mental toll, not just of, you know, being always on, but this is also the generation of actors who need to be very thick-skinned because the kind of trolling, the kind of comments that you will always be subjected to, and I don't know what your social media habits and consumptions are, but are you the kind of guy who's checking your Instagram yourself? Are you posting yourself? Are you reading the tweets yourself? And how do you manage to deal with all the negativity? Because, you know, your predecessors didn't have that, and maybe that was a gift because they could switch off. You know?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a much easier. It was much easier for them. Now it's not easy. You know, even in my position, I've been working 8 years now, and you know, the kids who are making their debut now, they're so much more, as you say, on, equipped, ready. They know everything about everything. You know, whenever I'm interacting with and engaging with millennials, my first cousins are millennials. Whenever I'm spending time, I'm just fascinated with the way they are. They know so much about so much. It's almost like in the physical being of a 20-year-old, they have the knowledge of a 50-year-old and the life experience because of their access to information, the kind of access to information that they've had since a young age. So yeah, when it comes to social media, yes, I am fully on and hands-on. The negativity, though, is it comes from a very sort of the way I deal with it. I'm pretty evolved in that sense, you know, because I feel that whatever I do, you know, I've done it from a very honest place, you know. So when somebody says something negative about it, it doesn't affect me because I know I did it with all honesty and I did it because I wanted to do it, you know. And people's opinions, you know, about anything and everything don't matter to me. Maybe what they think of my performances, which is the core of what I do, my acting, my performances. Yes, that matters to me. I'm very curious to know, and if somebody criticizes it, I do take it seriously. But the rest of it is just frill, you know. Even if they comment on it, and even if it's negative, you know, what difference does it make? It
You're
shouldn't
saying
affect
as long
you.
as you're commenting about you, that's good.
I sometimes do it to amuse myself. Sometimes I go through the comments just to amuse myself. I laugh at some of the flowery language that people use at times. But yeah, you can. I think you know. Generally, I like to be a very positive person. You know, I attract positivity. I engage with only things that are positive, and I'm very good at shutting out any and all kinds of negative feelings, shade thrown at me. I'm good at that. I can deal.
Come to talk about a little bit about the Bollywood business and how that's changed, right? Today you have, unlike again the yesteryears, where you know the leading stars or any star for that matter was only concerned about getting a blockbuster on the big screen. Today, I think as a leading actor, you must be, I mean, you're spoiled for choice because you don't just have the big screen, you have now the likes of Netflix, Amazon, Indian OTTs crowding the place, and you're seeing more Indians actually consuming it. And you also have people who one would have never thought earlier, you know, talent like Rajkumar Rao, Vicky Kaushal, Anshuman Khurrana, who are not actually the creation of the Netflixes and Amazons, but you know, their own niche movies, and there's a space for that too. So, and you have the superstars. So who's the real competition here? When you look at yourself as Ranveer Singh, the man who needs to be relevant and on top and always on, who's the competition here?
You know, I don't want to. I don't have such desires. You know, I don't want to be. I'm not obsessed with being relevant and on top of mind all the time. For me, it's a very, very simple existence. I count my blessings, and I'm very blessed to be doing what I love to do for a living. You know, I'm one of those few people who get to do that. I love acting, and I've always wanted to be an actor, and I get to do that. Just the fact that I get to go to a film set every day and work there in the capacity of a performer is the biggest deal for me. You know, that itself, the process itself is the prize. So I don't concern myself with the prize. But coming to this new age we're living in, it's very exciting. You know, it is become more merit-based. You know, now there are so many avenues, so many platforms. It's not just the big screen. There's television, you know, there's OTT, there's digital. and they all need to coexist. There is this legitimate, strong new vertical in the form of this digital platform, which is creatively very empowering. I think it's a very, very exciting time for content, for there to be a renaissance in what kind of content is being created. Actors like Ayushmann, who's one of my favorite actors, and people, Vicky, who I'm going to be collaborating with soon, Rajkumar, another one of my favorite actors. These guys have made it on the basis of their own merit, because they are damn good at what they do, and that's why the audience is accepting them. And that also is testament to the evolution of our audience. It's an immensely evolved audience in today's day and age. Like I said, they want quality. They insist on quality. Just hype around a film is not going to get them to the theaters. If they are going to, if it's inauthentic or insubstantial, they will reject it immediately. They will shower love and recognition upon you based on your merit.
So are you saying that the era of bankable stars is actually over?
Well, it's almost like a level playing field, and it's not. I think it's not even about the stars anymore. It's not the actual importance now is transferred on to content in a way that it's never been before. A film that's hyped, that has huge stars and huge budgets, if it's lacking soul, if it's insubstantial, is going to see rejection. At the same time, you have a great story full of soul, full of quality work, which will become a sleeper hit and give you return on investment that is unprecedented. So the audience has become very, very smart, very, very clever. They now have, at the flick of a switch, access to content from all over the world. So if you're saying, where the competition is now, the entire world is a level playing field. I think Sacred Games is a very significant thing that's happened. It is, I believe, on Netflix,
Yes.
and I think it was very, very significant. You have this kind of world-class content being created for Netflix, which is available on Netflix, which is so Indian. You have some wonderful actors, people who are now in the limelight thanks to their appearance in Sacred Games. And I hope more of that keeps happening. That original Indian content goes global, because we're always battling the language barrier, and that'll always be there. But more and more, you will see that content from India will find recognition all over the world. Which brings me to, I think about an hour ago, I just found out that my next film after Simba, Gully Boy, has been selected for the Berlinale, for the Berlin Film Festival. How about that? I'm damn happy about that.
Many, many congratulations.
So, this evolved audience is not to be taken lightly. You cannot take them for granted. Audience baap hai, sar chad kar bol rahi hai. You may have the biggest stars, the biggest budgets. If it's a poor, soulless, insubstantial story, it's going to be rejected. When there was a conversation I was having with one of my seniors, and they were telling me that I was wondering whether I should choose this character to play or not, Alauddin Khilji. And they were trying to explain to me that our audience is very emotional. So when they see an actor playing a character on the screen, and if that character is lovable, that love will be transferred upon you. But the same thing might happen. If you will choose to play a guy, a despicable man like Alauddin Khilji, and you're trying to make the audience hate you, that hate will come on to you as an actor, as a person, as a star. And I was scratching my head, and I was like, I don't think I agree with that. I think our audience is way more evolved than that in today's day and age. Because of social media and media in general, your dailies and your paparazzi culture, and the amount of interviews you give when you go out, people have access to you. So they know the person, therefore they can recognize this is a professional, this is an actor, you know. So when I chose to play Alauddin Khilji, you know, it was like, I was banking on the evolution of the audience in the sense that they'll be intelligent enough to separate the actor. You know, if it's good, they might applaud my performance and not hate me for being a bad man because they think I'm that guy. They know the actor, you know. So it's a really, really exciting time creatively because of these new avenues. You have a lot more kinds of stories that you can tell. But at the same time, it's going to be very challenging because content, like I said, globally is now a level playing field. So the onus is back on the content creators, on the creative people to come up with quality. Otherwise, it's just going to be rejection and wastage, and we don't want that.
Ranveer, there's also another stark difference between you know, the actors of the previous generations and yours, and that is they had only one aim, which was just act in their movies and ensure that they're hits. You guys have to do that, choose your platforms, and these days you see each one of you also trying to ring fence your future by getting into, you know, investing in production houses, getting your own fashion labels, you know, getting distribution rights. I mean, you guys are really, really financially savvy. Is that an added pressure you have to ensure that, you know, it's just not acting, but you're also an extremely prudent businessman?
I think it's the nature of the beast, and that beast has evolved. I think that's become like the one takeaway from this talk is that we have really come to a stage of a huge evolution as an entire industry. Our audience has evolved, our content is evolving. The nature of this whole gamut, this whole enterprise, this whole beast that I refer to is now a completely different beast. You know, it's not sufficient to just act in films. You know, there's a lot more peripheral stuff around it that also requires your time, energy, and attention.
Exactly.
But let me also tell you this, that time between action and cut, the acting, the performance is still very much the core, you know. And I'm noticing around me that too many people are devoting too much time, energy, and attention to the peripherals. It's almost as if they're losing track of what lies at the core of what they do, which is acting in films. You know, according to me, if your acting in films remains your focus and you're doing well in that, everything else will more or less fall into place. You know, too many people trying too hard to design and project and strategize, like you said. You can't lose sight of the core. The core is still the same, is acting in films.
What's your net worth, Ranveer?
What's my net worth?
Yeah.
मेरे को
Would you be-
पापा को पूछना पड़ेगा.
So, can I safely assume that your papa is your financial manager?
Yeah, entirely. The thing is, I'm very lucky and blessed in the sense that, you know, I have a father who has been a businessman over 40 years now. You know, I have that kind of support. So I can focus on stuff that I enjoy, you know, the creative aspects. You know, I want to acquire new skills that will help me create, you know, get better at dancing, at writing, you know, create different characters. My entire focus, all my time, energy, and attention can be towards bettering myself as an artist and as a performer. Yeah, I don't have to think about these things.
You know, Ranveer, talking about Bollywood and the kind of ease generations have now come with the industry and the music and the content is amazing because let's say even like a decade back, when we were growing up, Hollywood was looked at as the superior industry and, you know, we were still struggling to, you know, accept our own music and, you know, and wear it with pride. And today I think there is no such underconfidence. We're very confident of our own, you know, music, our own content, our stars. So Bollywood is clearly a force to reckon with, at par with Hollywood. However, don't you think that it hasn't been leveraged as a soft power, because it definitely has that kind of impact, to ensure larger, you know, cultural changes in society, whether it be messaging, cultural messaging, political messaging, or any other messaging? don't you think Bollywood needs to become the soft power that Hollywood is today?
I think it is. It very much is. I think our films hold a very special place in our society. You know, our stars, creative people working in the film business are revered and are heard. People, masses, listen to what they have to say. And I think our films definitely have the power to impact social change. There's no doubt about that. For instance, Gully Boy, it is the story of, it tells the story of a boy coming from a very disenfranchised background and what the trials and tribulations are of growing up in the slums of Mumbai. You know, and it's got, our films do many a time carry messages, you know, that bring about social change. I can think of examples like Swades, which me as an Indian born, as an Indian kid watching Swades during my university days, I'm thinking to myself, man, I can't not go back to my country, and whatever I do in life, I should do it there. What am I doing here? You know, it changed me. I'll admit to you that when I watched Tare Zameen Par with my dad, it had some kind of effect on the dynamic. You know, Rang De Vasanti, Three Idiots. There are so many films that have, even Munna Bhai, I feel, you know, our films do have the power to impact social change.
But then let me stop you there, because, I mean, we just finished a very powerful movement, which is the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
And if I just juxtapose the kind of response we saw from biggies like, you know, in Bollywood versus the response we saw from Hollywood, I think, you know, I mean, Bollywood left a lot to be desired, and just in terms of standing together and encouraging the movement, because I think somewhere they were still operating from fear. And I guess, you know, every industry has their own concerns, but one would have expected more from Bollywood because this was an important movement.
I think people were perhaps overwhelmed. I don't think they could wrap their head around what was happening. It was happening all too fast, all too quickly. And it was historic. It was, according to me, a revolution. And it brought about a purge. It absolutely did. You have perpetrators who aren't working anymore. So it definitely it made a huge impact from where I stand, and in my perception, that's a huge impact. And what the movement should have done, I think it has. It has changed to a large extent the way men think. You know?
Think so?
I think so.
Because the next one I want to
No,
talk
I
to you
think
about.
every man thinks twice now. They're afraid. They're feared. They're like, if we do something wrong, it's going to be called out and caught out. I think it's made a huge impact at the ground level.
Ranveer, you did a very bold ad with Durex, right? So you'd be the right person. And you please tell me, what is wrong with understanding consent in this country? Do you think there's a fundamental problem in understanding consent?
I think it's a very complex question to respond to, because what is the line? You know, a guy is hitting on a girl, and from his point of what might be coming on too hard from her perspective may not be, you know, that's not, where's the line drawn? What the line is for her may not be the line for him. You know, this is a completely gray area. So there is no straight answer to that. These things are very complex. It's to do with human interaction. Humans are so complex, and when two humans engage with each other, it's too complex. There is no straight answer to it. This guy apni taraf se is poor chap. He's trying to hit on a girl, but when lines aren't very obviously crossed, it falls into a very gray area. You know, you'll find a guy, you know, wondering, hey, was I inappropriate? Was that inappropriate? You know, it's too gray, it's too complex. There's no straight answer to it, because the threshold is different for each person. It's a very individual thing.
So tell me, I don't know if you've seen this Levi's ad, which was, in my opinion, one of the greatest examples of consent, and you probably would have because I think you're pretty well tuned into content. It was a Levi's ad a long time ago. Consent is when the woman, when the woman raises her hips, right, at that pivotal point before the jeans are ripped out. That's consent. It's untold, but it's consent. And that's what that ad showed. It was, again, a very, very bold ad, progressive for its time. But do you think India needs to do educational training for consent? Because clearly, consent seems to be very confusing for men.
200%, yeah. I think these things have to start from the very foundational, at a very foundational level, a very fundamental level. Parents need to pass that on to their kids. Schools need to pass that on to their students. It's about what you understand of the world and of these interactions growing up.
What is your opinion of the understanding of consent with Indian men?
I do think we have for the longest time lived in a very patriarchal society. Men feel very, very entitled as a species, at least in my surroundings. But fortunately for me, I've had an upbringing where my father's been the provider. He was always out trying to be the best provider that he could for our family. And in the sense, I got raised by 4 women, by my mom, my sister, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. So I have a very different way of looking at it. But I do find, and then I also studied in America where, the gender dynamics are very different.
Absolutely.
The outlook and view on sex is very different.
Sure.
So I've had that kind of exposure as well. But I do see around me guys who have some really warped,
Understanding of consent,
yeah,
of consent.
of just their sense of entitlement,
Exactly.
is just it's deeply ingrained. They'll laugh at you if you tell them otherwise. I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that as a thought leader, maybe, I don't know, call it what you want, I can contribute towards some of a positive change in that sense. By just leading by example, by just being, I'm hoping I can make some kind of small contribution. But yeah, it's very uphill, and it's too slow moving. But then again, the Me Too movement was historic, revolutionary. I think it's really made guys stop and think.
Sure.
And that itself is a big thing. So I think it's been hugely impactful and significant.
Just to take this on a lighter note, when I was telling people that, I'm interviewing Ranveer Singh as the closer, people were very excited. And the one thing, like 6 people told me, please ask him, please ask him. And this is the effect Bollywood has, even on intellectuals, is that, can you ask him, what does a film star wake up and do? Like, what's his average day like? Like we wake up, we drink coffee, we read the newspaper. What do you guys do?
It's not very different. I wake up, I drink coffee, I follow the news as well. It's very simple, yeah, very basic.
You guys have airport looks, you have looks for everything. What do you do with your clothes? You can't repeat.
Right.
So what do you do with them?
You hoard if you're a Sindhi like me.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like we'll never see you in this suit again.
Probably not. You know why?
I don't know.
क्योंकि भाड़े का है. Okay, I don't know how it is for other people, but I stopped paying for shit a long time ago. I endorse enough brands. This is another brand that I endorse. I endorse shoes and clothes and chashmas, and I am a very proud brand ambassador of all these brands. So I actually wear that, on a daily basis. My shoes are Adidas, my clothes are Jack and Jones, my chashma is Carrera, my chaddi is Rupa.
So Ranveer, I'm under a lot of pressure to make you dance. A lot of pressure, right? And people want you to dance on Khali Bali. But before that, I think I must ask you about your upcoming film, Simba. Yes. And you must tell me how, how that film is going to, change the fortunes
You should
at the
dance
box
on that
office.
new hit song from Simba, na? Aankh Mare. If you have it, you must. You must. Has anybody heard this
Do
song?
we have Aankh Mare? Okay, super. We
It's
have
a
Aankh
chart
Mare.
buster, guys.
Okay,
It's
okay.
Karan Johar's contribution to our film.
Done.
He gave us this amazing remix of this Tere Mere Sapne Arshad Wasi
Yeah,
track
I've
from the
seen the
90s,
video,
which
yeah.
deserved a remix and got a fitting remix with Tanishq Bagchi's remix, and it's it's ruling the charts, and I'm damn happy about it. The having a hit song in your repertoire goes a long way. Take it from me. So yeah, Simba is my first foray into pure mainstream masala. It's the genre I've grown up on, that I've loved, that I've always wanted to be in. I think I've done some good work and earned the right to be a masala hero. And doing it with Rohit Shetty, he's the master of the genre. So it's your CT Tali wali film, the one that you should watch in the single screens like Giddy Galaxy and Chandan and Plaza, and it's that celebration of a hero who is an all-encompassing entertainer, जो romance भी करेगा, comedy भी करेगा, drama भी करेगा, action भी करेगा. It's like a kaleidoscope of flavors in one film. And it's been a very fulfilling process. I'm really happy with the way the movie is shaped up, and I'm feeling very good about it.
I truly hope it rocks the box office and
Thank
changes
you.
your fortune.
It's my first in and as Ranveer Singh, in and as Simba.
Given that you've not even gone for your honeymoon.
Yeah.
You're busy promoting your
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
Oh, hats off to you.
I'm very happy with it, and I really want to go out and invite people to come and watch it. I really want people to watch Simba because I think it's a great entertainer. And it's for the first time I'm going to be hey hero, I've been that guy in Chandan, in the stalls, in Geti, when the hero comes and you get up and you clap and you whistle, and it's just that celebration, that carnival-like atmosphere whilst watching a film, that shared group experience, which is just so special. I think that offering is there for everyone at the end of the month, and I hope people go watch and enjoy themselves.